evening, good to have you with us in the 9 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, tonight we bring to you a story that you may have missed, an order by the Allahabad High Court that frankly is a landmark order in my view. Because here is the Allahabad High Court saying that under the Special Marriage Act, you do not need to mandatorily put a public notice 30 days in advance to your marriage. You don't need to announce it to the world that you intend to get married under this law, so that if anybody has an objection, they can come and block your intentions. Now, this is what the Allahabad High Court had to say, that this 30 days prior notice is optional. That mandatory notice, in fact, is invasion of the fundamental rights of liberty and privacy, that it goes against the tenets of right to privacy. And in case a couple does decide to get married under the Special Marriage Act, which is what interfaith couples use, by the way, in case you're wondering, in case they do decide to get married under this law, and they decide not to make this public announcement, not to put this notice, there should not be any objections. You cannot stop them. Let it be their choice whether they do want to issue this notice or not. Of course, the marriage officer, in case of doubt, can seek proof of identity, proof of age, and of course ensure that the officer is convinced that there is consent involved by both who are getting married. Now, why has this order come about? Let me tell you about the case that has actually brought about this decision by the Allahabad High Court. A woman in Uttar Pradesh wanted to marry a man from a different religion. The petition claimed that she was detained against her wish once it was known that she intends to marry him. The plea said that they could have gotten married had it not been for this 1 month notice rule. The plea claims that such a notice is an invasion of privacy and it causes unnecessary social pressure. It is interference in one's free choice regarding marriage, effectively saying that if two consenting adults, irrespective of their religions, decide to get married in this country, why should they have to first announce it, give 30 days to the world, try all their might to come and stop them from getting married and try whatever tricks they want? Why? If they want to get married and they're adults, it should be their choice. So tonight, there are a few aspects that I want to explore basis what the Allahabad High Court has now said. Firstly, of course, this is a shot in the arm for the interfaith couples who would have otherwise have to make this declaration and go through all of that process. So it's good news for them. Secondly, there is this other fallout. Now, many people, out of fear of their families or friends or self-appointed moral guardians of our society finding out, many people, out of fear about this, actually quietly just change religion and get married under another personal law. So they don't need to make this declaration, so there are no hurdles. Will that now stop? Thirdly, there is also a big question mark on the Special Marriage Act itself. The petitions that have been filed in the Supreme Court against this act itself, rules that were made 50, 100, 150 years ago, that really don't make sense for today's generation. And fourth, most interestingly, what does it mean for the recent law brought in by the Uttar Pradesh government, the forced conversion law, or as BJP calls it, the love jihad law? What does it mean for that law? Because there again, you have been mandated to go and seek permission, file an application with the DM a month before you get married. Should that also not be relooked at? Let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us. Dr. Geeta Bhan, professor at Delhi University, with us this evening. Rajiv Pandey, spokesperson for the BJP. Advocate Adarsh Kumar Maurya, counsel for the petitioner in this specific case, also with us. First up, let me just quickly go across to Mr. Sanjay Hegde, a senior advocate with the Supreme Court. Mr. Hegde, to your mind to begin with, What could be the impact of what Allahabad High Court has said today?
Well, it's a progressive judgment, and the impact is simply this, that when you go to the marriage officer and ask for permission, thereafter, unless you specifically tell him, publish it, put it out, he is under no obligation to specifically put it out and give notice to everyone. The act, as it was designed, required the officer to put up the intended marriage in a conspicuous place in his office. It also required him to give public notice in a manner of speaking. Those things are no more mandatory, they are only directory, and the direction can only happen at the instance of the couple itself. It allows the officer to check, is there consent? Is there any impediment to the marriage? For instance, if one of the parties is already married, all those factors he can check. But he cannot go around announcing Mr. X is planning to go to marry Miss Y 30 days from now. Please come and object. And in the meanwhile, if you want to object outside the gentleman's house or the lady's house, here is the information. That kind of public invitation is no more mandatory.
Yes, and I think that's something that probably should have been done a while ago in this country, but sometimes you just get stuck with rules that were made in an ancient period and then haven't since been changed. But let's get to the details of this to understand better where we are coming from. Adarsh Kumar Maurya मेरे साथ है. आदर्श जी, मुझे ये बताएं कि ये पेटिशन जो फाइल किया आपके क्लाइंट्स ने, वो किस स्थिति में किया, क्यों उनको कोर्ट जाना पड़ा?
इसमें सबसे पहली बात, हमारे पास जो क्लाइंट लोग आए, ये लोग आए तो इनके फादर जो साफिया सुल्तान हैं, इनके फादर ने इनको कस्टडी में ले रखा था. पेटिशनर से इनको मिलने नहीं दिया जा रहा था. ये लोग शादी कर चुके थे. 13/8/2020 को शादी कर लिया था इन लोगों ने. और उसके बाद इनके घर वाले टॉर्चर कर रहे थे कि इनसे आप बोलेंगे नहीं, बात नहीं करेंगे. 24/9/2020 को हमने रिट फाइल की हाई कोर्ट में, हैविस कॉर्पस. हेलो,
हाँ जी, बोलिए.
फाइल की गई, हैविस कॉर्पस फाइल की. उसके बाद माननीय न्यायमूर्ति द्वारा इसमें जो है लड़की को और उनके फादर को तलब किया कोर्ट में. जब कोर्ट में आए ये लोग, तो कोर्ट ने लड़की से पूछा आप बालिग हैं, पूरा प्रमाण देखा कोर्ट ने दोनों लोगों का. उसके बाद लड़की से पूछा कि आप किसके साथ रहेंगे, तो लड़की ने कहा अपने हस्बैंड साथ रहेंगे. उसके बाद माननीय न्यायमूर्ति द्वारा कहा गया कि आपके घर से कोई आया, तो उन्होंने कहा पिताजी घर से आए हैं. पिताजी को कोर्ट ने बुलाया. उसके बाद पिताजी से उनके सारी बात पूछी, तो उन्होंने कहा ठीक है, लड़की हमारी खुश, तो हम भी खुश हुए हैं. इसके बाद फिर जो है कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर पास कर दिया. और उसके बाद जब बाहर निकले तो दोनों लोग बड़े खुश थे. इनके जो है साफिया सुल्तान के जो फादर थे अब्दुल महमूद खान साहब, उन्होंने दोनों को आशीर्वाद दिया कोर्ट के बाहर. और उन्होंने कहा न्यायालय ने जो हमारे ऊपर बहुत अच्छा किया है, कि समाज के लोग थोड़ा परेशान कर रहे थे, लेकिन अब कोई हमको दिक्कत नहीं है.
तो
उसके बाद कोर्ट ने
जी, तो उनकी शादी हो चुकी थी, उसके बाद उनको अलग कर दिया गया क्योंकि ये उन्होंने प्रोसेस फॉलो नहीं किया था.
जी.
ओके, लेट मी एक्चुअली ब्रिंग इन. हाँ जी, बोलिए.
कैन आई जस्ट क्लैरिफाई?
प्रोसेस जी प्रोसेस ने पूरा किया था, लेकिन उसके बाद उन्होंने जो है घर वाले, उनके फादर ने और उनके और लोगों ने उसको प्रतिबंधित कर दिया था, कोई कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, ये सब दिक्कत हो जाएगी आगे. उसके बाद हाईकोर्ट हम लोग आए. इसमें हाईकोर्ट ने जो ऑर्डर पास किया, देखा उसमें इन्होंने 6/8/2020 को जो है धर्म परिवर्तन कर लिया था और 13/8/2020 को शादी कर ली थी आश्रम मंदिर में. और 24/9/2020 को रिट फाइल की हाईकोर्ट में, हैविस कॉर्पस फाइल की. उसके बाद नोटिस जारी हुई. ये मुकदमा 8 बार कोर्ट में लगा
जी.
और उसके बाद 12/2021 को फाइनल ऑर्डर पास हो गया.
All right, Sanjay Hegde, you wanted to make a point. Go ahead, please.
The court had disposed of the matter on facts.
Yes.
After the girl had said that she wanted to go with her husband, they allowed her to go. The court said that they noted a submission that if we could have married under the Special Marriages Act, we would have married, but for the fact of this 30-day notice. And thereafter, taking into account social conditions, the court has now interpreted the act in the manner that it has chosen to. So basically, this particular case became a peg upon which the entire interpretation of the act could be expounded by the court.
Because that is a problem and a large pattern that we see, right? A lot of people say that we could have gotten married under the Special Marriages Act, but because of this rule, and because it then makes us vulnerable to anybody who wants to come in, create a ruckus or stop us and block us, we rather just undergo conversion and get married under another law. Isn't that what was becoming a big problem, Mr. Hegde?
Yes, of course, because you could have interference from people including your parents and others. You could also have interference from people whom you don't know, but who think that they should also participate in somebody's marriage. So, therefore, this very requirement of 30 days notice was acting as a barrier to marriages being performed and solemnized under the Special Marriages Act. So, this 30 days notice is now held to be notice or publication thereof is held to be directory and not mandatory.
So then shouldn't this, Mr. Rajiv Pandey, also apply in all other instances as well? If two consulting adults, irrespective of where they come from and what faith they follow, decide to get married, why should they have to go anywhere in advance, 1 month in advance, and make these statements and declarations?
Tanvi, as far as the case in hand, which was discussed by Mr. Moria, advocate of the petitioner, that case is completely different. We see every day in the high courts filing habeas corpus petitions in the case where the parents are forcing their kids not to go with the person who is her husband after the due process of law and after the marriage. The question is here that right now under a Special Marriage Act, that 30 days mandatory notice and is not now compulsory. It is an optional option available to the person who wants to apply for a special marriage under a Special Marriage Act. They are saying that Section 4 is not required. What is Section 4? Why this notice is required, Tanvi? It is for the people on only 2 counts under Section 4 that people can file objection. One, that if either of the party is already married, is having another spouse, that is one. Second is insanity. Who will know about the insanity? Only the near and dear people. If I am insane, I cannot say that I am insane. So if you see the Section 4 of the Special Marriage Act, it talks about that only on these 2-3 grounds, anybody else can also go and tell the authority who is going to register this marriage. These laws are made and these rules are made to protect the people. The case which
why
is
are we not
discussed by
protecting people of the same religion then? No, I understand. So let's take it point by point. You are saying it's to protect people in case one of them is already married. Now,
yes, I'm saying the same thing. Because under Section 4, you read that Section 4, what it says, only on 2 counts where there is no free will and otherwise you are having already a wife. If we have seen in the newspaper morning, evening, we see that how people are hiding their identity, hiding their family.
Only you are getting these newspapers, Mr. Pandey. I don't know where you are reading these morning, evening news.
No. If you want, I can send you the list.
Morning, evening, I see high courts across the country striking down the rules and regulations being made by state governments. Morning, evening, I see high courts from Allahabad High Court to Karnataka and Bengal and Tamil Nadu saying, right, it is my fundamental right, my right to choose, my right to privacy, and nobody can stop me.
Tanvi, I have no objection to that. Understand that. I have no objection to that. I support whatever my learned friend has got relief from the High Court, Allahabad, because they were married and the family member was stopping, and that's why they have filed habeas corpus petition.
Yeah,
I support that. I support free will. But listen to me. These all law, you talked about that BJP is talking about the love jihad. Let me explain that. These all laws are for the people who are cheating on others, who are having wives, who are telling wrong name, creating fake Facebook record.
Find
creating,
another way. Find another way.
including-
Your laws cannot be unconstitutional.
Except that, you
Today,
see.
the Allahabad High Court has said this
So- no,
provision
wait,
under
wait.
Special Marriage Act is ancient, dated, has
This is
no
not
place
final verdict.
in today's
This is not
society.
final verdict.
You are making
Wait
new
for the-
laws with similar
What I'm
similar
saying-
provisions.
Now, Honorable Supreme Court of India is seized with the matter, as you know very well. I think I debated on that day also when the notice was issued in that matter. So let's wait for some time. Tanvi, it is not only for people who talk about that free will, free will, free will. I know that I support free will. But
It
who are
doesn't sound
cheating,
like that,
who
Mr.
are-
Pandey.
Who are cheating? No, who are cheating? Who are impersonating? I will tell that I am Robert. And will you accept? And suppose I make a
There are
Facebook
laws.
and I send you.
You are a,
So-
you
so-
are
so
a
understand.
lawyer. You know the laws
No,
that
there-
exist
no,
in
no,
our
I'll tell
country
you.
for cheating,
No.
cheating
I'll
and
tell you.
conspiracy.
I'll- no,
Just
I'll
like
tell you.
there are
You
laws
know,
for murder, rape, dowry
No, listen,
in our
listen.
country.
Tanvi, can you give
there
just
are laws that
30
exist for this.
Tanvi, 30
Laws
seconds.
that you
This
create to
judgment
stop
says-
interfaith couples in an organized manner to ensure that they have to go and announce it to the world so you can stop them on time, take the
I'll tell
girl
you one
away,
thing.
claim that the girl is innocent and was being cheated is different.
Tanvi, just one line. Section 4, what this order also says, that if there is a violation of Section 4, consequences will follow.
Yeah.
But in the case, if somebody is made by impersonation getting married and the life of that woman is destroyed and that person is saying, no, I'm not Rajiv Pandey, I am Robert. What to do with that?
So how does
Who will help that girl? Who will help that girl? Legal consequences will follow. Marriage will be annulled.
Mr. Sanjay
but who
Hegde,
will,
before
who
I
will
go to
bring back
Geeta
the
Bhan,
life of
okay.
that woman?
Okay, so Mr. Sanjay Hegde, before I go to Geeta Bhan, let's solve this problem. When you go to the DM a month in advance and say, I intend to marry this person and maybe change my religion, how is the DM going to be any additional safety net if it is Rajiv Pandey or Robert Pandey? Then it would be in a normal system. You still have to show your identity before you register your marriage.
Every day Bangladeshis are making their
One minute, one
Aadhaar
minute.
card to everything. Every day Bangladeshis in this country are coming.
wait.
making
that is
their
a
Aadhaar
failure of
card
your
to
government.
everything.
Let's not talk about
not
that.
only my government.
No,
Not only my government.
One minute. Let's not get distracted
let me
here.
put it this way.
Yes.
Mr. Robert Pandey is making the assumption that he knows better than all the ladies who are getting married.
Oh.
That the lady who is getting married does not know whether he is Robert or Rajiv. Now assume that a lady does get married to him on the assumption that he is Robert Pandey, then discovers that he is not, but he is Rajiv. She has the option of voiding the marriage. Ultimately, it all comes down to the lady's agency. Do you trust your women? Do you think that she has agency? No. Everything has to, whatever a woman does, has to be approved by the menfolk of the family. And if not, if the menfolk of the family approve of her, then the men of society also have to approve, because otherwise they have a right to interfere. And this kind of a protective net is shoved so that it can be used indiscriminately against all kinds of marriages, whether you like them, whether you don't like them. What is there to you have a marriage between two people of the same community? They can still come in and say no, this person is actually so and so, and therefore arrest them under the love jihad law. The love jihad law is specifically designed to attract only criminal action against one particular community. Let's be straight about it.
Yes, which has happened. Which has happened, by the way. A couple of the same community and religion were getting married, and their marriage on the eve was stopped, and they had to spend the entire night with the relatives at the police station trying to convince them that there is no wrongdoing here. Please let us get married. But okay, Geeta Bhan, please come in here. Here is my question. On one hand, we have the Allahabad High Court saying that in a rule that was made 150 years ago, but because of whatever mindset prevailed then, cannot be applied to today's generation. We must do away with this mandatory public notice 30 days in advance. On the other hand, we are actually coming up with new laws, putting in such rules again. What is going on?
Tanvi, judiciary has largely been protective in its decisions towards, when it comes to women's rights. And in this case, we have seen that, High Court has also, Allahabad High Court has addressed an issue where adult woman, wanted to live in a, interfaith marriage and was being stalked by her parents. So the Allahabad High Court intervened and very rightly so gave her the right to live with her husband, whom she wanted to, who has chosen, as her partner. Now, while there are a large number of, there could be large number of such cases where those who are adult, who are, with their own free will and in a, consensual relationship are going ahead and, solemnizing it into a marriage. At the same time, there are two aspects which I would like to put forth. At the same time, there are a large number of such cases where romantic relationships are being used as a bait for conversion, and largely it has been happening for non-Muslim women. And I can tell you that I myself have seen and kind of collected data on a large number of such cases till November. 6 months till November, where and these are, most of the cases gets reported in local newspaper, the state newspapers. National dailies, they do not give much space, and maybe on the 10th or 12th page somewhere it might find a small column. Otherwise you will not find it.
So since you have the data, how many charge sheets, Dr. Geeta Bhat, so far?
You see, let me come back. I'll come to that also. Let me just come to this particular judgment, where I think Mr. Hegde also had mentioned that it is the marriage officer who can, who is going to, the one who solemnizes the marriage. Now, please see that the judgment says that it is the marriage officer who is going to, the onus will lie on him to verify the identity, also the age of, and also the intention of the marriage, with which the marriage is going to take place. And if required, it is the marriage officer who can ask for a certain details, so on and so forth. Now, first thing is that this in itself may give rise to many aspects where the officer in charge can actually exploit the situation. There could be money exchange. You see, there could be various ramifications of this. Secondly, please do remember that there is going to be a notification to the registrar when the marriage is going to take place. And there are many systems, I think all the lawyers, on this panel, they will agree that this kind of an information can be leaked out from anywhere. As far as, the cases are being...
It gets leaked out all the time. That's why the minute the couple lands at the registrar's office, so does some of the other local group who's there to beat them up and stop them and call the police.
Yeah, now the point is that this is empowering a particular officer with deciding on that if two people who are marrying or of interfaith, and any kind of objection can be raised, and there could be any.
So you're saying, Dr. Geeta Bhat, empowering the marriage officer is more dangerous than empowering the entire society for 1 month to come and create whatever danga they want?
No, not at all.
The marriage officer is a state employee.
If you can give me 10 seconds to please let me complete, then you can intervene. The whole important thing is that the mindset of the society, that is something that needs to change. There are cases of the famous director Wajid Khan, whose wife who married under a special marriage act, but still could not have a happy marriage because there was so much of pressure of conversion on her before marriage also and after marriage also.
I'm not understanding. What is the point that you're making? You've now raised 4 different issues. Please make one point that I can... Yes. You started off by saying you have collected data. I'm asking you what data that you're not giving me, how many charge sheets have been filed. Then you went on to say it's a mindset issue, society needs to change. Of course the society needs to change. But why are we giving in to the societal pressure by creating these laws?
It is not society, that the society has to change. I did not say societal pressure, and also because you countered Mr. Pandey by saying that the newspapers do not report such
Yes, so
cases.
tell
I
me,
do
how
not
many
say.
charge sheets?
So I want to tell
I
you.
asked
I
the
want
UP
to tell you
government,
that
central
I
government,
said
every
there are many
opportunity I get. Where is the data? Give me the data. How many charge sheets?
Yes. Yeah, that is charge sheets. Charge sheets are there in Uttar Pradesh. Maximum
Please
32
don't tell me
cases are taken
complaints.
up.
How many charge
You are
sheets? Rajiv
reported.
Pandey, how many
You
charge
are
sheets?
reported.
How many
Tanvi,
convictions? Please tell me.
Tanvi, you are living in a different world. India is a country of villages where if somebody is facing these kind of problems, that somebody has cheated her daughter, they will try to settle their daughter first, not to go gaga with a drum that my daughter is cheated by Mr. Robert by claiming Rajiv. Okay, so you are living in different
But you
world. We
know
are
it.
living in different world.
But you know
Well,
it.
I know
Whichever
that.
world you live
I
in, which is not
100% know
Mumbai,
it. I'll
but
tell
you
you. I'll
know
tell you.
it. Yeah,
I'll tell you
okay.
the reason.
Sure.
I'll tell you the reason.
Mr.
I'll tell you. You know, in several cases, because you don't read because you don't want to see that every day these kind
Don't
of
tell me
news are
every day. Give
reported.
me statistics. Don't tell me
Abhi,
generic statements.
now
Give me
you want
statistics. Give
I'll
me
give you
statistics.
should I send you an email on
Yes,
open
no,
channel?
say
I'm
it
saying I will
now.
send you
You
an
so
email
believe in
that
this so much. You
oh,
think it's
how
the
I
biggest
can,
menace in our
did you tell
country
me
right now. Tell me how
this
many.
is one of the biggest menace I
I
am
can
telling
also
you,
send you. I
and
can
I
also send you
support.
an email.
I support. Listen, I support. Geeta ji, 1 second. I support free will marriage. In this country, interfaith faith marriage has flourished. I am not opposing that. I believe that in Hinduism, every caste should marry with each other. I support this. I am telling you. But if somebody is hiding the identity, that person should be punished. That is one aspect.
So you
But
are
the
glad.
life of
Okay,
that woman
leave
is
that, Mr. Pandey.
The life
As
of
much
woman
as
is
leave
finished.
that. Are you backing the decision made by Allahabad High Court today, doing away with this provision under Special Marriages Act? Do you think this is a good thing? At least now, lesser women will have to convert and get married under other circumstances, and they can use the Special Marriage Act. Don't you think it's a good thing?
I will tell you one thing. In my opinion, this 30 days mandatory notice, section 4 compliance is must. I will
Why?
read that order. Somebody will certainly challenge before the Honorable Supreme Court of India. I will wait till Supreme Court of India decides about that act on which the notice is issued. In my opinion, there is a group, there is a gang in this country who are working. Money is flowing from outside, but I am sure that
Okay, I
that
definitely
government
know
will take
where,
into
what
this.
you are watching and what you are reading, Mr. Rajiv Pandey. All right. Sanjay Hegde, would you like to respond to this? The fact that there seems to be a big menace, organized crime syndicate functioning, luring in innocent girls of one religion. Can this law protect them then?
Look, take the facts of this case. The lady was a Muslim.
Yeah.
She converted to Hinduism. Will Mr. Pandey or Ms. Bhatt tell you that there is going to be a charge sheet filed in this case? Ex
There is no
facie,
need, sir. Both are adult and both have given consent.
On the facts of this case itself, that would run counter to your anti-conversion law. It is only a conversion only for the purpose of marriage.
Sir, you are a senior lawyer. I respect you. Can I say just one line?
Listen,
In the
this is exactly what is happening. If the
Hegde
lady
sahab, can I
happens
just put
to
one
be
question to
Muslim
you?
marrying a Hindu, there will be no consequences. If the lady is a Hindu marrying a Muslim, then all hell will break loose.
Hegde sahab, I am saying,
That is how things are being operated.
Yes, I mean, in
Now,
the first case, like you said, Mr.
Hegde sahab,
Hegde, nobody is
one
going
line
to
I want to
question
say.
them to prove their will, to prove their consent, to prove their
Hegde sahab,
age
can I just
and
ask one
identity.
question?
But in the second instance
Tanvi,
of cases,
with
like you
due
said,
respect to
we
Mr.
must do
Hegde,
a
can I
thorough
ask one
check,
question?
take 24 hours,
Can I
use
ask
the
one
entire
question?
might of the state to verify the facts before we allow them to get married. Yes, Mr. Pandey, go ahead, please.
I am only asking, Hegde sahab, there is a 6-month notice in the divorce proceedings that you have to wait for 6 months to separate before first motion and second motion. Why this is? Why not? I go today. I will go into the court. I will say, I don't want to live with my wife and I should be given decree of divorce. You know, these all rules are well thought and it is more thoughtful. You are saying it is 100 years old law. 302 is also 100 years old law. You want Tanvi to throw that law outside?
I am not saying the court has said this.
No, you are saying,
Rajiv
no,
Pandey,
this is
Allahabad
not
High Court
final.
has said this. If
This
you have
is
a
not
problem,
final. This
as
is well
is
thought,
often
this is
told
not
to
final.
me, as is often told to me by many representatives of the ruling party, if you have a problem, please go to court. Mr. Rajiv Pandey, if you have a problem with what the Allahabad High Court has said, please go to
Certainly,
court. Please go to
Honorable
court
Supreme Court
and
of
take
India
it
will
up
look
with
into
them.
matter.
Here is the High Court, Allahabad High Court, saying that a mandatory public notice under Special Marriages Act, which is used by interfaith couples to get married in our country, that mandatory notice is against the tenets of privacy. It violates the fundamental right to privacy. And so this is not mandatory anymore, it's voluntary. In case you want to announce to the world that we're going to be getting married to each other, if anybody has an objection, you have 30 days to come and object. But otherwise, two consenting adults have all the right to get married without the world creating a problem. Unfortunately, even as the Allahabad High Court says this, even as in case after case from Allahabad High Court to Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, in multiple cases where High Courts have stood up for love, have stood up and said we don't see love jihad in this case, have stood up for right to choose of a woman, have stood up for right to choose for a couple on who they want to get married to as if they are adults, have now ruled in favor of right to privacy, even as court after court stands up for our rights. We have governments in our country today, states in our country who are coming up with new laws that are altogether destroying all of these rights that we enjoy in our country. We wait and watch to see what happens in the Supreme Court, since the Supreme Court is seized of the matter, whether it's the UP forced conversion law or even the Special Marriage Act. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.